if you're like me, sometimes the best way to internalize a concept or thought is to teach it, right? And yesterday I saw something on the internet that was absolutely brilliant. Jason Abrams, who is the vice president of industry for Keller Williams Realty International, was talking to us about where the industry is going and how it pertains to us in business. And in order to do it, he had to set the stage. And so I'm going to try to go ahead and set the stage for you. I suggest following along as I'm drawing these things out because I really think it helps. But let me start off and ask you this question first. Where would you say we are in our market right now? Are our prices still rising? Are our prices stabilizing? Scott, where do you think we are?
Top of the bell curve, headed back
At
up.
the top of the bell curve. Okay, so this, maybe, I want to draw this. Do I have to hold it?
No, just one.
Easy for you to say. All right. So these are commodities. It could be any single commodity, right? And we know that all commodities rise and fall, right? Dave used to sell oatmeal. He was a commodities broker. Penny's husband used to sell almonds. He was a commodities broker. And we know that as prices rise, they also fall. And we saw that when we moved to Fresno, right, Mom? Jennifer, in the 80s. What was happening in the 80s, the 1980s, when we moved to Fresno and bought our first house?
It was a recession in 1981.
And the interest rates?
18 more.
Ours,
We were quoted 22, and we felt really blessed at 17 3/4.
right? And then they came down, right? Okay, same with stock market, same with the market crash in 2009, same with lumber prices today, right? Okay, so there's nothing that you can do to change this bell curve. This is just how it is with commodities, with everything. All we can do is decide how we react to it. And sometimes we get really lucky and we react the right way. And sometimes we don't, and we're kind of left on the curb to figure out how to handle it, right? So whatever happens though, a change does happen and it changes the way that we think about it. So like right here, maybe there will be a change in thinking about something. For example, the tech in the 90s, I don't know, a lot of you guys might not have been born then, but somebody wrote a white paper saying that all of the tech companies didn't know what they were doing, and boom, the tech market crashed, right? Same with the stock market. Lehman decided to make a change in the way that it was doing business, and what happened? It crashed, right? So we can't always control it, but we know that there's always that moment of time that changes the way that people think about it. Really fast. This is really good. So how do we look at it today for today's real estate market? And how do we factor in how it'll play out in the future with our competitors, with our industry? So Scott, I hear you say that prices haven't come down yet, right? All right, so we're probably like somewhere in here at this moment, right? Some places it's still going crazy, so maybe they're over here. And yesterday on the call that we were on, somebody said it was going down. They were in a completely different market, so they were already over here. But most of us would agree that we're still somewhere here, climbing, right? Okay. So there's some challenges and there's some nuances to this, and it's really kind of an interesting conversation to have. And this is where my mind was blown. So I'm gonna draw a line like this. And I'm gonna put the number down here, 7,225. Now that's real estate agents? In 2009, nationwide, the last time the market got funky. All right? Anybody know how many we have today?
3.
So we're in the middle of this, so I'm gonna put a big dot here. We have 1.52 million real estate agents in the United States today. It's the first time ever in the history of real estate that we've had this many real estate agents. And there's some good anecdotal evidence showing that it's gonna keep increasing.
Say that again.
There's really good anecdotal evidence showing that the number of real estate agents is going to keep increasing. Anybody know where we get that evidence?
DRE.
Okay, before DRE numbers, before you can apply to the DRE, what do you have to do? Real estate school. Real estate school. So, there are as many people in the United States enrolled in real estate school as there are real estate agents walking around. Yep. The good news is 35% of them who do online school will actually get the real estate license.
Unless they take it from us, and then it's given.
And if they take it in person, it's 65%, right? No matter which way you look at it, they're anticipating about 500,000 more people will get their real estate license soon, pretty soon, which is kind of funny because did you know, this is another industry statistic that blew my mind. 40% of Americans say that by the end of 2021, they will change careers.
40%.
40%. Yeah. Traditionally, the people that we see get into real estate are teachers, bartenders, waiters and waitresses, and people who are just tired of working for somebody else and they want to have their own business. Right? So those are good people to know, right? If you're thinking of like growing in profit share or things like that, who you might want to be in touch with. Also, people who switch jobs and industries move, right? Which means there could be an influx of business for you as they're relocating for these new jobs. So I'm just putting that bug out there in your head. All right, so one thing we also know is that in order to get your real estate license, so let's just say those 500,000 people are going to hit the market out here. What had to happen back here? They had to sign up for licensing. They had to realize, oh, this is a really great real estate market. Prices have never been higher, right? It's a fantastic time to get into the business. So I'm gonna get in here. But they get licensed, they get their fingerprints done, they wait on the state with all of the backlogs, all of those things happen, and by the time they're licensed, what do we have going on? We have a declining market. This, look at what letter that is. Have you ever heard anybody talk about like the K? Okay, so this is right here, number of real estate agents. This is the number of homes to be sold or the pricing of homes, right? And that's what they refer to in statistics as the K. I never saw a K so clearly in my life. Do you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so one of the other things that I know is back down here in 2009 when we had 725,000 real estate agents. We're already on 3 pages of my notes, that's really good. Back down there, there were 4.6 million transactions done in the United States. So that's 4.6 million transactions. That's not volume in trillions or anything like that. It's transactions. Do you know right now how many there will be in the United States?
Just over 6.
6 million. So it's not like this doubled, like you might have thought that between here and here, this number doubled to 9. It didn't do that. It went up just a little bit to 6 million in transactions. What did go up though was what? Prices. And so in theory, there was more money to be made and more money to be split between more real estate agents, right?
Right.
Okay, you're following me there. So what happens when it starts to go down? Either the number of transactions or the volume and the number of agents goes up.
We have a bunch of agents leave the business.
Either a bunch of agents leave the business or what?
Fewer agents take more of the transaction.
Fewer agents take more of the transactions. Yep. What else could happen?
Commission competitiveness.
Commission competitiveness. What else?
Teams are gonna grow.
What was that?
Teams are gonna have more of an impact.
Teams could have more of an impact, right?
Are you going with the way real estate will be done? That will change?
What's real estate gonna look like?
More
How will it change?
brokerages, more brands.
Could there be more brands, more brokerages? All of these are super good questions. And so what we're asking ourselves as Keller Williams, as an owner of a real estate company, right? What we're going back to KWRI and saying, and luckily for us, we have a visionary who leads our company and he's already way ahead of us, so he's already planning this out. But the challenge is, what if the next market, remember, the next market is always the market we're planning for, right? If we're in this market and we're planning for this market, we're too late. We need to be planning for the next market, right? So either our prices are gonna drop, our inventory is gonna drop, something's gonna change. It always happens, right? When I was growing up, Jennifer, my mom, always used to tell me, real estate is just a pendulum. This is just pretend like this is a big grandfather clock. And it swings from one side to the next, and one side to the next. Buyer's market, seller's market, buyer's market, right? It's the same thing, right? And the great thing is that we always think for the next market. We always need to be thinking for the next market. So, more agents than the world has ever known, selling homes, declining in value, or fewer homes to be sold. So what do we know that we do at Keller Williams? There's a book written about it. Shift, right? What did we call it when COVID happened? Pivot, right? We pivoted. We had to turn really quick because all of a sudden the world changed, right? And so this is my note.
Where you're gonna calling.
We're calling us, we love you. We just want you to feel included. So what I can tell you is that our conversation is going to have to shift. Our conversation is going to have to change around lead generation and where we find leads and follow up. And here's why I know it. Because every new real estate agent that enters into the market comes with their own what? Sphere of influence. Right? When I got into the market, every single person in my family had their real estate license, and I could not figure out who in the world would be left to do business with me because everyone we knew already was tied somehow to someone I was related to. And then I realized I worked with 181 teachers that nobody in my family knew. Right? And I was like, oh, okay, I've got a center of influence. But if all of them are coming to the market with a center of influence, then those people are most likely who they're going to do business with. It's like 70% of the people that you know or the people that you do business with are going to be people that you know from your center of influence. So then what we have to say is, how are we going to compete? where are we gonna find the business? And how am I educating my center of influence and staying in touch with my center of influence? Because that's what's gonna feed me, right? Okay, so now I get to shift the conversation. Everybody have this down?
Yes.
Okay, how do I erase?
All
Joanne, while you're erasing, one of the things I feel will change is, yeah, prices may decline, but I think inventory is gonna go back up. I think we're gonna see the 3-month inventory. I mean, we're gonna have 3 times the number of homes on the market that we have right now.
Okay, good. So you'll be able to answer this question then really well. Did I educate my database about real estate? Right, Dave?
Right.
Yeah. And am I regularly staying in touch and following up with my database? Okay, good. Because you know that your biggest competitor is digital.
Yes.
And they're out there trying to take you out.
Yes.
All right, they're gonna catch your leads in their big ass funnel. And their funnel keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. All right, so let's talk about this, and we're gonna draw another little graph together. This is our value. Please write the word value. Oh my goodness, I like regular old boards so much better. Okay, so we have value down here, and we have money down here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk real fast about online generation and how it works, all right? And we're gonna talk about the staircase of opportunity. So here we go. We're gonna draw a little staircase. This is how the internet works.
This is amazing.
Yes, it is.
I wish I thought of it.
It's so awesome.
I know. I just watched it yesterday and then I rewatched it today so I can teach it for you. All right, so let's just say this is Amazon. And I can browse, peruse Amazon or any website for that matter for free until a certain point, right? All right, so I'm looking for a sundress. It's my birthday. I wanna look cute. And I can spend 3 hours or 4 hours searching on Amazon, even if I'm not a Prime member for this sundress. And then all of a sudden I stay too long on one and it's, I want that. Right? I haven't pulled the trigger yet though, I just know I want that. Right? And then Amazon says to me, okay, great, if you want that, do you want it tomorrow? Are you willing to wait a week for it? How do you want that? And I'm like, well, actually, I want it tomorrow because I want to wear it to my birthday on Thursday. So they say, great, join Prime, and you can have that dress tomorrow. And we can even ship it right now. And oh, by the way, other consumers said that this pair of sandals looked super cute with that sundress. And oh, by the way, if you want, we'll sell you this dress too, and we'll give you 10% off on the other dress. And oh, by the way, if you want 40% off your whole purchase, just apply for our credit card. We can do all of that for you and have it to you tomorrow. Right? That's called the staircase of opportunity. I'm not going to spell the whole So what I want you to do is I want you to think about it. Think about yourself as a consumer like me. Every email, every text that you get from a consumer when they're trying to sell you something, like if it's a click here, or let's just say like you're trying to connect with your friends and family on Instagram or Facebook. And you're reading, but then all of a sudden an ad pops up. I think you might be interested in this sundress. And I'm like, oh, how did they know? This is so cute. And I click on it. And then the next thing you know, I'm sucked away from my friends and family. And I'm down the rabbit hole searching for the cutest sundresses I've ever seen in my entire life. Right? Or the example yesterday was epoxy tables. Did you know they made tables out of epoxy?
So cool. They're amazing.
Right? So they're making epoxy tables. You get clicked on the epoxy table rabbit hole. You're taken away from your friends and family, and now you're in the epoxy table world. And you probably never even knew that there were so many epoxy tables in the whole world. Amber does. No, because I've been down that hole. Because she's been down that hole, right? So
I'm in that hole now.
you're in that hole now, yeah. So you kind of get it. So how does this work in real estate? Anybody know? Because everybody I know, everybody would admit that they are voyeuristic about real estate. Everybody's going on somewhere and looking. I've sat on airplanes next to people so many times, and I have asked them, hey, do you ever like to look at real estate online? And they're like, I love to look at real estate online. And I share my app. Because who doesn't? Who isn't curious? Who doesn't want to know what their neighbor's house looks like inside, or what their home is valued at today, or a neighborhood that they eventually, Barb doesn't want to know, a neighborhood that they eventually want to live in, what that's going to look like. Everyone's voyeuristic about real estate. So let's think about that and how what happens to your own people. I'm gonna can we erase this?
Sure.
Can I use my pen and erase it, or
Yes.
just help me read it out?
Sure.
Okay. Yes.
You said you shared your app, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In your guys' system, when you share the app, do you get that lady's information?
Yeah. And that lady can search my app with Keller Williams. We have a national IDX feed. So she can use my real estate app and search for homes in Florida. She can use my app and search for homes in South Texas or Wyoming or wherever, because Keller Williams has a national IDX feed.
And when she asks for more information, you're the only person that she asks rather than whoever buys their information.
That's correct. Okay, so let's go back to this real quick. This is really important. This is dollars. This is zero. This is value. This is our staircase. Only this is now a real estate staircase. So, oh, I need to add something else important in here. This right here is the funnel. All right, so this is our little person, and they are curious. This is their eyeball, right? So they're being a voyeur, and they enter into the real estate funnel. And it's going to be one of our online competitors usually that rhymes with Brillo or Deadfin. And they're going to go into that funnel, and the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to say, what's your name? Right? So they'll say Britney Spears and or Mickey Mouse. Have you guys ever had that one in your database? Yeah.
I did George Washington.
You get George Washington? Santa Claus, right? Okay. And then they'll ask them for a phone number, or let's just say maybe your friend is like, well, yeah, like what's wrong with me giving Zillow my information? So Dave Kidder gives Zillow his information. He's a consumer. He wants information on his home price, and they develop a profile of Dave Kidder. There he is. There's Dave Kidder. And you know what they do with that profile? Sell it. They sell it. They sell the profile of Dave Kidder to who?
About
Anybody
28
A local real estate agent
and lender.
and lenders. And probably more than one local real estate agent,
Oh, yeah.
Probably a couple other companies too, for good measure.
probably. And what does that real estate agent say?
Say,
This is what I hear from more real estate agents than not. It's a bad lead.
Oh,
It's a bad lead. It's a bad lead. Do Zillow and Redfin think those are bad leads though?
They make money.
Nope. What do they keep doing?
You keep selling.
They keep selling them, they keep saying, okay, well, we'll try again over here. We'll send you some information on your home. Maybe it's an email. Or they'll send a text. Would you still like information on your home? Maybe it's the 10th time they ask. And we're like, heck yeah. All I've wanted is for somebody to reach out and give me information on my home, and nobody has. And so finally I raise my hand and I say, yeah. What does Zillow say? Great. We'll send somebody out to do evaluation on your home. So they charge another agent a whole lot more because now that lead is already generated, right? So maybe they tell David Shai, we've got this lead called Dave Kidder, and we've warmed him up. We've emailed him, we've stayed in touch with him, we've asked him 10 times if he wants evaluation on his home, and he finally pulled the trigger because in Zillow and Redfin world, there's no such thing as a bad lead. No such thing. We're gonna just keep loving on them until they turn into something. And then we're gonna sell them to a real estate agent. So now David goes out and he gives them evaluation. And they're like, this is kind of fun, so let's go ahead. Next, we're gonna move over here. And this is gonna be the listing appointment. David's gonna list it. And then after here, the listing is signed. And this is gonna be all the showing. And all that good stuff, right? What's really, really interesting though, is that when I meet with real estate agents and when I'm talking to you guys about your businesses, you guys can draw this out for me perfectly. You can tell me how you're gonna explain, how you're gonna stay in touch with, how you're gonna set an expectation with your seller or with your buyer, right? Whether it's a listing presentation or a buyer consultation, you can tell me all the steps and all the touch points you're gonna go through to keep that person looped in the transaction, right? But where we have the greatest opportunity in our industry is here. And this is what I'm constantly hearing. It's a bad lead. It's a bad lead, right? People want to nurture their business when it's at the top. This is the day that it's a fantastic lead, the day that they say, yes, we're pre-approved and we want to go, right? And then this is the next time they may say it, and this period of time is 3 to 5 years between. But what if something happens? What if life happens, and between this point and this point, they need you because they need a smaller house, they need a bigger house, they're moving out of state, right? Most real estate agents cannot draw out their staircase of opportunity for lead generation and for follow-up. And I have to tell you guys that with where the industry is going, if I were to draw that K again, and all of the agents that are going to get into the market, that's going to be a conversation that you're going to need to have. And you're going to need to know how to build out your own staircase of opportunity, right? Which brings us to another conversation, and that conversation is called bundled services. Anybody in here ever use Expedia? Yeah. So you know how on Expedia, if you buy an airplane ticket, they tell you you can have a hotel room at this much of a discount? Oh, and by the way, maybe you need a rental car for that trip too. And would you like us to help you plan some destinations and some things that you can do while you're on that vacation? That's bundled services. That's where our competitors are going next. And that's where Keller Williams is going. Only there's a difference in our reason for doing it. So if you were to go back and you were to Google Zillow 360, and you'll be blown away. Go and Google it. It's a massive funnel. So you get caught into Google's stairway of opportunity, and by the time it's time for you to help your seller whose home you're listing,
You said Google.
I meant Zillow. For some reason, I don't like to say the word, and it always comes out another way.
Just call it Willow.
Yeah. Okay, so we know that we're gonna list over here and this seller is gonna have to buy, so if I'm Zillow, well, I can offer you a rebate or a discount if you use us to go ahead and purchase a home. And oh, by the way, if you use our ancillary services, maybe the one that they're tied in with, we have that too. And oh, by the way, insurance, we have that too. And oh, by the way, gosh, we even have all of these other services that we can provide. The thing is though, with Google, Zillow, and Redfin, what they're doing is they're shortening the agent's commission. They're using the agent's commission to go out and create all of these other services that they can make money on. What Gary Keller's trying to do, because at Keller Williams, we have Keller Mortgage, which I hate to say that, I have other competitors in here, but it's a no cost loan. Gary makes his money when they sell the loan on the secondary market, right? So he says, we've got a package deal here. We've got a great agent. We've got a loan that's not gonna cost you any money. They're really working on fine tuning their insurance services through Keller Covered. And in the future, there are going to be a whole host of other services that are gonna be able to be bundled for you as real estate agents so that you can compete on your own with the Zillows and the Redfins out there. It's one of the reasons the holding company has been formed, right? Because of all of these other services that Gary's bringing in. The idea with him though is, how can we give away these other services so that the agent's commission is never touched? It's the biggest difference out there. And in a market that's gonna shift, we know it's gonna shift because every market does, right? Right? And we saw the K, clear as day, right? So it's really important for us to be aware of what we have out there currently at our fingertips and how we can use these tools to position ourselves and to grow our businesses the right way. Thoughts, questions? Alicia?
Is part of the ecosystem that you're talking about in your union?
It is part of it. It is part of it.
I think the issue I've had is that it's all coming, but Zillow already has it, right?
True.
And so we're still in the middle of trying to put everything together ourselves. And it's just not, whereas Zillow has their whole, and all those companies have their whole backing to set it up. So as an individual agent, it's very hard to try and match what they're doing on our end alone.
It's impossible. As an individual agent alone, you would never be able to do it. As a small mom and pop out there, you would never be able to do it. As a mid-sized local company, you would never be able to do it, right? You're here and we have part of it, right? And we're waiting for more to come out. But there's nobody else who's positioning themselves to take on our online competitors who want to disintermediate our industry like Keller Williams is. And every morning when I wake up and I think I have to teach agents about lead generation, I think about Gary Keller and what he's trying to do. And how he really is trying to go in and save our industry. Because what's it gonna look like if somebody doesn't disrupt it? Jennifer.
So I think one of the things yesterday when I heard this, that was so clear to me, and it was again so clear to me when you presented it, is I feel like I'm really good at listing and I'm really good at showing. I got that nailed. And when you ask about what about these other stairways and how would I explain that part of my business, I think that was a eye opener yesterday in that, yeah, I can run through, but I don't have it nearly as dialed in as I do the other two areas.
Right. So that's Keller Williams' stance too, that real estate agents will always be better at this part and will always be required because this is where agents excel, right? I was on a call last week and it was on the ALC. So we have an associate leadership council in the state, in the Northern California, Hawaii region, and we do a cross mastermind with the Maryland, DC region. And one of the sexy conversations was, how can you bring an ancillary service into your own business as a local agent? And the first thing I thought about was a window washing company. And the reason I thought of that is because Joe Kosteroff, Window Joe, is Greg's son, and Joe washes our windows. And I'm like, wow, I think if I was a real estate agent practicing, because you guys know my license, I'm licensed, but I don't represent buyers or sellers, I run the company. I would pair up with a window guy, and I would, 3 months after my people move into a house, I would say, I don't just care about you during the real estate transaction, I care about how you live in the house as well. And so I wanted to send my window washer out and have him wash your windows for free, right? So my person could go out and maybe they just wash windows for free that first time. Maybe it's something that I do every 6 months. For anybody who's in my center of influence, maybe I'm not a party planner. I'm not a party planner, by the way. So maybe for me, one of the things that I can do is send my window washer to anybody's house every 6 months to have them wash windows. And that's my gift. Maybe then my window guy gets to start doing the windows of the neighbors. Or maybe my people like him so much that they hire him themselves to do their windows, and it helps his business too. So that was one like thought I had as far as an ancillary service that an individual agent could have. The other one is, hell, I think I should buy a Mosquito Joe franchise. Have you paid attention to what's going on my Facebook page?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh my goodness, I hired Mosquito Joe to come out and fog my whole area up because we have bad mosquitoes. Like, look at my arms. Like, I'm being eaten alive by mosquitoes this year. And he comes out, my neighbors are like, oh, have him do our yard too. It costs us $90. We get $25 off because some of you, my wonderful friends off of our next service, signed up and had Window Joe come out as well. I mean, not Window Joe, Mosquito Joe. Oh my gosh, I could have all the Joes.
That was great.
Anyhow, so what if I went out and I bought a Mosquito Joe franchise for $105,000? It's available, by the way, I've checked, and I'm even looking in other markets. And I say, okay, for everybody that I sell or buy a house with, my Mosquito Joe service is free. All I ask is for your referrals. That would set me apart. Right? Give me another thing to do because I need more of it. But I know how to hire teams and put people in place and run businesses, right? And so do you. So I'm just saying, like, you can see how you can do this. You can do a bundled service to set yourself apart even today, even if it's not Window Joe or Mosquito Joe. There's something that you do that sets yourself apart from everybody else, and you have to talk about it.